The French comedian Dieudonné, Mabala Mabala, he of the infamous quenelle gesture, today sent a billet doux to the Prime Minister, following the Home Secretary's decision on Monday to ban him from entering the UK. He had previously declared that he would travel to Britain to support the West Brom player Nicholas Anelka, who used the gesture, an alleged reverse Nazi salute, when he scored against West Ham. Anelka, who denies any malicious intent, now faces an FA disciplinary hearing. In Dieudonné's letter, written from his lawyers, which begins with a quote by George Bernard Shaw, "All truths begin as blasphemies," they argue that rather than the quenelle being an anti-Semitic gesture, the quenelle is a humorous gesture invented by the artist Dieudonné and has been used by him for many years. It is simply a peaceable and humorous form of the two-finger gesture, a relaxed form of the French bras d'honneur, an equivalent of the British two-finger gesture. Is a gesture of civil disobedience, a sign of moral revolt, an outburst of dignity. As an example, one of the most distinguished quenelles in contemporary history is that of General de Gaulle to the Vichy regime, while calling for resistance from within your country. The meaning is simple, the spirit of it is clear. Nicholas Anelka claimed he used the salute to mock the French establishment in solidarity with his comedic hero, and the letter takes up that theme just a tad pompously. The relentless censorship implemented by the French state against our client can be explained notably by the fact that the comedian Dieudonné succeeds through laughter in doing what our government is failing to do through policy, namely to gather together French people of all categories and all origins. Well, as Dieudonné can't come to Britain, Newsnight went to him. Steve Smith hopped across the channel to Paris this morning to meet him in the theatre where he's performing.
Dieudonné, most people in the UK became aware of you because of the incident involving Nicolas Anelka. Did you ask him to make that gesture?
Non, je ne lui ai pas demandé directement.
No, I didn't ask him directly. He did it to pay me a tribute because he's a friend. It's a gesture with panache, one of emancipation and courage.
But it's caused a great deal of offence, and people believe that it's an inverted Nazi salute.
That's a very funny definition, but it's just not true. The people who claim it's an inverted Nazi salute are people who have their own interests. They want to see anti-Semitism anywhere and everywhere to justify their own political positions.
Those who claim that the quenelle is an inverted Nazi salute are crazy.
But why is it then that people have been photographed making this salute in front of synagogues, in front of the Holocaust Memorial and at Auschwitz?
C'est ça qui est terrible.
Well, that's the problem. All of that stuff is just exaggeration. Around 100,000 photos have been taken, and you're talking to me about 3 photos which have been taken in front of what are essentially symbolic places that represent Judaism. That's not even 1 in 1,000 of the photos that have been taken. So why try to sum up a much bigger movement in just a few photos?
So you condemn that? You think those people were wrong to make that gesture in those places?
Vous venez me demander de condamner des gens, de m'ériger en juge.
You're asking me to condemn people, to set myself up as judge and jury. In your system, in your society, do what you've got to do, judge people, put them in prison, but it's not my job. I'd rather judge you. You come here, you're speaking to me, I'm sitting here and I'm giving you a bit of my time to talk about subjects that are obviously important to you. I'm telling you this gesture isn't anti-Semitic for me. If anti-Semitic people do the quenelle, go and see them, go and speak to them. How many people hate black people and do sketches about black people, do things that you could judge to be racist? Go and speak to them. It's a bit tiresome to systematically be put in a position of having to justify yourself. I don't have to justify myself to you.
Okay, well let's talk about what you are responsible for. and that is your act, your performance. You're a comedian, you say, but what sort of comedian makes jokes about the Holocaust or jokes that bracket Jewish reporters with gas chambers?
Je n'ai jamais abordé l'Holocauste autrement que.
I've never approached the Holocaust in any other terms than the logic of competition amongst victims. It's important for me to make clear to the public that no one suffering is above any other. There's no hierarchy of suffering. I have no sympathy for anti-Semitism.
Je n'ai aucune sympathie pour l'antisémitisme.
So, for instance, quite a common trait of anti-Semitism is a belief that the Holocaust didn't happen or was in some way exaggerated. So what is your position there? Do you accept that as a historical fact?
Alors, je suis un humoriste et j'ai bien peur que
I'm a comedian.
Que ma position,
but that's not an excuse. You're also a man walking around talking to people. Is it an all-purpose excuse to say, I'm just a humorist, it doesn't matter what I say?
Mais parce que vous êtes un homme qui il se présente comme quelqu'un de sérieux.
But you're a man who presents himself as someone serious, a journalist. I'm here to make people laugh. When you ask me questions about the Holocaust with that super serious long face, I say to myself, well, clearly I'm not going to make you laugh about that subject, but I think you need to.
Mais je pense que vous en avez besoin.
I think it would be interesting to hear one of your jokes. Can you tell us one of your jokes?
Alors,
well, that'll cost you 35 euros. Go and ask at the till over there.
But you know perfectly well that your act has created a lot of controversy. It's not just me sitting here. You've been fined. Your show has been banned at times by the French. My country has refused you entry.
Je ne suis pas responsable de l'interdiction de séjour en Angleterre. Je voulais y aller pour jouer mon spectacle.
I'm not responsible for the recent ban in England. I wanted to go there to play my show. I think my lawyers have sent a letter to your government, to Mr. Cameron, to explain to him that this whole situation is not only unjust, but ridiculous.
Donc, je pense que je viendrai à Londres jouer.
So I think I'll come to London to perform within the year, in 2014. I think probably between September and December. And at that point, you're more than welcome to come and see what it is I do.
Vous serez invité à venir voir ce que je fais.
What makes you think you'll be allowed in?
Imaginez que l'interdiction de mon.
Can you seriously imagine that my ban in England protects the English from any risk or invasion or any sort of terrorism? It's so stupid that I think the English will wake up. You've got a Home Secretary who's almost as stupid and ridiculous as our own.
Vous avez un ministre de l'Intérieur qui est au moins aussi ridicule et stupide que le nôtre.
Dieudonné and Steve Smith. Well, before the Prime Minister winged his way to Somerset, he waded into the debate over Scottish independence with a